hairpin wind and turn. But we've been here before, it's gonna be alright. Slow and steady, keep that brake foot pumping. Feel the burn. Remember, we've gotta drive all night. And it feels like you're getting nowhere. Yeah, you're getting there way too fast. I ain't going out that way, so I treat every day, oh, like it was the last. It used to be that everyone was free now and everything was good, but that was once upon a time. Yeah, we got lost out in the forest when we was looking for the woods. Now everybody's on the front lines, and it feels like the walls are closing in. Yeah, they're closing in way too fast. I ain't going out that way, I treat every day, oh, like it was the last. Just like it was the last.
I'm happy you're here because you know what we're here for? You know this. We're here to create a movement grounded in love and kindness that transforms us, our community, and the world. That's why we're here, in case you didn't know. I'm so happy you made the decision to be here. Yes, I am. So let's take a moment. Let's take a moment, take a deep breath into this moment. And I want in this prayer, on this day, Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration Eve, to take a deep breath and listen to these words. King wrote in 1963, "I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's greatest stumbling block in the stride toward freedom is not the white citizen's counselor or the Ku Klux Klanner, but the white moderate who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I can't agree with your methods of direct action." Let's just take a moment and let those words lay on our heart. And to know that without a doubt, those of us who are here may fall under the category of white moderate, who is devoted more to order than to justice. And so let us just sink into our own selves and do that self-reflection on this eve of the celebration of one of the greatest leaders who taught nonviolence, who stood up for those looked upon as less than, and to feel gratefulness in our heart for his guidance and for his wisdom. This we pray in our heart of hearts, and so it is. Amen.
Circle has no ending. It's not like someone planned it. It's just physics, just works out that way. And without a true beginning, you are free to walk right in and join or not at any point you find along its way. could be as simple as a circle. Well, that would be alright with me. I could be swept round and round, never lost and always found, like a wheel set within a cosmic play. But nothing is as simple as a circle.
Thank you. I think maybe you'll recognize how the universe worked this week, because these songs, and I'm just crying about it all already.
We got a protest song for later. So.
Okay. I picked a card. Any card. I picked any card. And it's the card that my sister Barbara wrote. You want to come up and read it? Where'd that voice come from? You don't want to come up and read? Come on. Look at her. Even she wrote under name optional, she put in parentheses, should I?
I'm the younger sister, the funny one. What do you want it to be in your life for others? Where everyone can participate, be of service, and receive service. What the heck? Carry the mission. Carry the mission. How do you want it to feel? I want to feel a part of, a sense of belonging, home, like home. How will you bless this space? Bless this space. The place is blessed by everyone being present with open hearts. That's pretty deep.
How good is that? Should I? Should I on there? Yeah. Thank you, Barbara. You know, every week we do that. If you haven't filled out a card, we filled out these cards in August, and I just pull a card, any card. Never know which one it'll be. Okay, I'm recovering. You know, at the beginning of the year, and we're still at the beginning of the year, right? At the beginning of the year, often we think about goals. You know, like what do I want to be this year? What do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? Like what's my passion? We ask ourselves those kinds of questions, right? Like what is that? Like some people use a vision board. Have you ever done a vision board? And you put all these, words and images up there in a vision board, or you make your list of goals, or you're just like, I'm going to take a class this year, or I'm going to finish my degree. I'm going to get a certification. Maybe you have weight loss goals. Maybe you have healthy eating goals. Maybe you just have getting fit goals. Maybe your goal is simply one day at a time goal, right? One day at a time goal. But I've been thinking about that. There's nothing wrong with those goals, but sometimes they don't work for me. Sometimes they don't work for me because they put pressure on me. And then I think, well, if I don't meet this goal, does that mean I didn't work hard enough? Does that mean something's wrong with me? That's pretty much a go-to for me. Something must be wrong with me. I didn't figure it out. I didn't make it. You know, it doesn't work as well for me like that. I've decided that it's okay because I like a plan A and a plan B, and those of you who know me, I really like a plan C just in case. But doesn't that restrict me? Doesn't that put blinders on me? And I wonder if it makes me focus so much like this that I miss the thing right on the other side of the blinder. Because I'm so focused on it. And I don't relax into it. And I don't like it when I think about it that way. It becomes too rigid. And then I blame myself for when things fall apart. So just so happens this week I have an example, a story, of course, about how I had blinders on. Now, some of you know, I've been reading occasionally from a Zen calendar that my friend Christine Lyons gave to me for last year. And I've been reading a quote from it. Sometimes it's the starting point for our Saturday morning group, right? Like yesterday, our coffee and conversation group. And I decided that this year I was going to get this year's calendar, right? Because I enjoyed it a lot. And so I went on Amazon Prime, Amazon Smile rather, and those of you who aren't on Smile yet, get on Soul Center Smile so that we get some cash from Amazon once in a while. The $9.38 a quarter that comes. But still, I digress. So I decided to order this calendar. So I went on Amazon Smile, and I found that, and the first one there was really like half price of the second one, but I noticed that it wasn't going to be delivered until February 11th. And I'm like, I'm not waiting that long. I want the calendar now. And so I went down to the next one, and sure enough, it was a little bit more money, but I was going to get it this past week. I thought, all right, I can do that. I'll get it this past week. So just so happens in our Amazon Smile account, Renee gets the notifications for when things ship. So she got the notification when my Zen calendar shipped, when it was coming, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm so excited. Did you realize that you ordered the 2022 calendar? For 2023. I was like, what? Exactly the thing that Christine Lyons did last year. So all of 2021, I had 2020's calendar. Or 2022, I had 2021's calendar. And now, through my own abilities, I now have the 2022 calendar for 2023. So, all year long, I will have the reminder in front of me of how I missed what was directly in front of me. I mean, it was there. Christine Lyons says, why is Amazon even selling last year's catalog? Because I buy it. That's why. It'll still be good. We started off yesterday with it, but really. So it's been weighing on me about this idea of how much I miss. I mean, if I'm so focused, I miss stuff. Obviously, right? I miss stuff. So if I'm that way with my goals in my life, if I'm so focused on a particular thing, if I make that my life mission, then what? I miss things that are around it. I miss the stuff around it. I even made a poster about how this really is. I'll just show it to you. Right? Can y'all see it? Right? Right? Yes, but do you notice there's a 4B? There's a 4B, and Renee says, oh, I love that because it looks like a splat. A splat. So this is it. It's like, this is what we expect to happen. Amazon should have had only the 2023 calendars on there, by the way. But what actually happens is all this. You know that. I mean, each node doesn't even look the same. And then I drew a B on here because this is what it looked like. This is what it looked like. And if this is what actually happens, why do I want to get stuck here? If I really believe that this is what actually happens, why do I want to get stuck here? Probably not, right? Probably not. Let me put this aside for a minute. I don't want to be so focused. I don't want to do that. I don't want to miss what's right along the way because I'm so focused on where I want to get. And really it doesn't happen that way anyway. So I want to read you a story from Mark Nepo's book, 7,000 Ways to Listen. Good book, by the way. Did you realize there were 7,000 ways to listen? Yeah, probably not, huh? Yeah. He said, here's a small story. I was on my way to the San Francisco airport en route to Santa Fe to see my dear friend Wayne. I was in the back of a shuttle listening to one side of a cell phone conversation being spoken in Chinese. I saw a large bird gliding over the highway, and it occurred to me that while a bird starts out with a direction in mind, it simply rides the currents. As human beings, though, we somehow overreach the currents, imagining routes and timetables that we have no control over. Top line. I constantly fall prey to this, he says. Somewhere along the way, I learned or taught myself to prepare for every detail, which is fine, but at some point the preparations always turn into goals that must be fulfilled, or I have the feeling that something terrible will happen. Most of the time, this couldn't be further from the truth. Whether the plans are to catch the shuttle at 9:20 and to sit in 4B on the 11:27 flight to Albuquerque and then go home on Monday at 2:30, or go to school and get a master's degree and be married by 35 and rich by 50, or to achieve a certain level of success, however you might plan, to tunnel our way through life towards intentions cast ahead of us as obligations is actually to bypass being touched by much of life. A and B. In truth, being single-minded is highly overrated. It often limits what we can learn from the world. A and B. The larger intention is to stay in relationship with everything that comes along, at least long enough to taste it. B. He says, for all my focus and conscientious planning, unplanned unfoldings are what made me more human. Can you think of that in your life? Unplanned unfoldings are what made me more human. He gives an example. The blind saxophonist down an alley in Greenwich Village, who I listened to until I wept. The trapped bird in the apse of the Duomo in Florence, whose cavernous flapping made me realize my own entrapments. See if we pause enough. Waking from cancer, I fell into an unexpected loss of ambition. And the milestones by which I wanted to engrave my image on the world scattered. And all along the way, I've been surprised by the kindness of strangers who couldn't have found me in such need had I managed to stay on course. As I arrived at the terminal, I felt like I owed the innocent driver more than I could pay for delivering me more deeply to myself. The large bird had vanished in a cloud, and my mechanical bird was waiting. Standing on yet another curb with bags I couldn't remember packing, I realized that what has caused so much anxiety in my life of plans is the fear that if thrown off course, whatever that means, life will leave town without me. How utterly silly. It's the other way around. God is fully where we are. And when our plans are bent or split or reversed by the unexpected appearance of life in its many guises, this is often where the learning begins. It's often where the learning begins. The quote he starts off this section in the book called Being Lost is this: the moment we awaken to know that we are lost, to realize, as Jung says, that the ego is not master in the house, then we have begun the journey. Then we have begun the journey. I'm like, oh my gosh, can you tell this is hitting home for me? How can it be? My fear that I'll be left behind by life. Oh my gosh, is that it? My coach has been asking me that. She'll be here next week. She's a guest speaker. I think I'll have a good answer by then. The fear of being left behind by life. Like, I don't want to live there. Do you? I don't want to live there. I want to live this right here. And you know what? Sometimes this right here means, this little right here. Who sang about the hairpin turn and the soft shoulder? Here it is. Here it is, right here. I was like, when I heard that, I thought, oh my gosh. Here it is. How many hairpins turns are there in here? A lot. A lot. That's, I want to live there. I want to see what it looks like when I come around that bend. I want to be this bee doing this. That's what I want. That's what I want. I don't want to be afraid that life is going to pass me by. This is life. This is life. Right here where I am. Right here where I am. Not where I want to be sometime, but just to pay attention right where I am. Yeah. That's what it's about. I have great friends. Do you have great friends?
Yes.
I have some great friends, and it's such a... And they're wise friends, by the way. The friends I have are wise. They have important things to say, and they don't even realize they're saying them sometimes. And one of my friends is my dear friend Maggie. And we were talking a little bit about this. Maggie isn't here today, but she's the one that does that newsletter y'all be looking at lots, by the way. And Maggie reminded me, because some of those places are really hard places to be. Some of them are painful. Some of them are hurtful. Some of them are places of regret and remorse and anxiety. Some of them are tough places to be. But you know what she reminded me of? She said, no matter where you are in all those loop-de-loops, there are at least another million people feeling like you feel. There are at least another million people feeling like you feel. And she said, for me, that makes a difference. Because I'm not alone. Because I know that I'm not alone. No matter where I am, I'm not alone. And that makes a huge difference. Can you imagine if you would think of that? If I would think of that in my low points, in the places where I'm not feeling so good. I just told Jill when she came in, I said, I'm feeling a little beat up this week. I bet you there's more than 1 million people that are feeling beat up this week. Right? By whatever it is. Emotionally, physically, psychologically, spiritually beat up. Yeah. No, that doesn't mean I'm going to be okay with it. It means that the feeling of not being alone is a big deal. Right? The feeling of not being alone is a big deal. And she reminded me of that. That's a big thing. The last thing I want to mention is when we're in those loop-de-loops, we're not sure what they're going to lead. It's a circle, it's a square, it's a diamond, it's a parallelogram. I knew what that was. It's a splat, it's a star. They don't know where it's going to be. They're not all circles in a line. But no matter where we are, I want us to remember to trust from the inside. Because the hairpin turn and the soft shoulder can be dangerous. Ask my friend Paul, right? It's a tough spot to be in. But you know what? You can still trust yourself in that spot. You can still trust the divine in you, no matter what. No matter what. Like, let's just try that if we haven't tried it for a while. It's okay to trust. So that's the message today. This is the message today. It goes, this right here, wherever it is, I am not alone. I trust in the divine of my being, and I practice being in stillness to know what that is. Yeah? That's what it is. That's what it is. So, from the 2022 calendar. Friday, January 14th, 2022. From Walt Whitman. Not I nor anyone else can travel the road for you. You have to travel it yourself. It's not far. It is within reach. Perhaps you have been on it since you were born, and you just didn't know it. Perhaps it is everywhere, on water and on land. Yeah. So let's take a few moments this afternoon, or this morning. If I can say it's 2022, I could say it's afternoon. Y'all are so beautiful to me. Can we have some meditation music, please? So let's take a moment. Take a deep breath in and out. And let's realize, you know, it's good to have goals. It's good to have a vision, an idea, something to grab onto, to work toward. But it is not the only. It is not the only way of being in life. To be awake, to be present, to notice the difference between our expectation and what actually happens. I encourage you to feel hopeful for these few moments together. Not I nor anyone else can travel the road for you. You must travel it by yourself. It is not far. It is within reach. Perhaps you have been on it since you were born, and you just didn't know it. Perhaps it's everywhere, on water and on land. Amen.
Or so we danced around the campfires hand in hand. We had sticks and stones and magic bones. We beat out old feel the rhythms of the land. Though our destiny seems futile now, there's always something desperate in the air. On 10,000 years from now or so, we'll still feel those rhythms everywhere. And all the painted ponies and the sons of pioneers have all been left to rust. We let our anger fuel our best ideas and then leave our good intentions out in the dust. If you got no North Star to guide you and a cracked review for reference, things will get stark. And just let the flames of ancient rhythms of the past be your candle in the dark. Feel the rhythm breathe in, breathe out. Listen to your heart.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy. Until next time, amen.